life work, and it's funny how you come back on the show. It's been about a half-year hiatus for you due to work, and now it's like the first time probably 6 months we got a show that went off on time as scheduled. Like, this was good, Zach. Like, I'm really proud of myself. Sorry, what a way to kick off the show. Welcome everyone to Living Room Sports Talk. It is Monday, January 18th. So look at that. We got the great Chad Catcherman back here, McCauley here, and we got the great Zach Rothenberger as well. I gotta start coming up with some better adjectives for, descriptions for you guys. I can't say, oh, the great this, the great that. Like, come on.
I was just saying, I don't know what I'm so great at, but I'll take it.
Oh, dude, you're fantastic. Maybe that's what I should do. Fantastic Zach.
Sure. We'll come up with something for you too.
I don't know. Just call me Nut Job because I'm robed out here and everything green and yellow. So
hey, your team's still in the dance, and ours didn't even make it to the dungeon or the gauntlet, whatever the hell you want to call it.
We weren't even invited.
Yeah. We're gonna have a lot of fun during the draft this year when we do that again. When Chad, you gonna do the Kuiper thing?
Oh yeah. I'll bring the glasses back out, put the suit back on.
Oh my God!
You have to enjoy yourself every once in a while, right?
Yeah,
that was good. Yeah.
And speaking of enjoying yourself, so to the point of why you're back on with us, you got a new job, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And do you want? I don't know if you want to tell us about your job. It's in the sports realm, so the audience might want to hear about it a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So I left little kids. Well, that sounds weird, but coaching. I left coaching.
All right, dude. All right. So, Chad, why don't you tell us the job you had before? Because I don't think we ever told the audience that. So, and if you picked up in the audience.
All right. So I was a youth baseball coach and instructor. So I left that job. I'm now working for a sports memorabilia company called Hunt Auctions. Basically, we just sell a bunch of sports memorabilia that consigners will bring into us, and then we'll put those into lots for online auctions. And then we also do, as a company, buy our own things to sell. For example, like we're going down the Super Bowl for 2 weeks, starting next Tuesday. Yeah.
No. Just don't be more nonchalant about it. I'll hype you up. Yeah, you're going to the Super Bowl. Jesus, like that's pretty awesome. I'm a there.
So we
got trust in the chat, by the way. What's up, brother?
Kieran, me and you have been talking for a couple of weeks now, and it's like if the Packers get there, that is when the fun is going to begin.
It'll be so fun. Oh man. Yeah.
Bring the Devontae jersey down, maybe have it in the stadium for you to bring the good vibes. Maybe even no, you're gonna have to wear the Rodgers jersey yourself, but I'd say I could bring that one in too.
Yeah, that one's gonna stay up here unwashed. Oh, look at this. Yeah, we got Trust was chatting and he's good. He's happy to see you back, Chad.
What's up, Trust? How you doing, buddy?
All right, so let's jump in. We got a great show. So as you can see, we're obviously doing a lot of NFL divisional recaps and. Yeah, all right. I won't be biased on this show. I know I'm wearing it, but I won't wear it through my words. All right, I'll do better. Okay. Divisional recaps, though, and then there's obviously going to be a lot of NFL coaching hires. So, Chad, you're obviously in the mix. You're the last two of the coaches left, I should say, or whatever positions left to be hired for coaches. And then, and it's funny, Zach. I feel bad, man. Your birthday was last week, and we couldn't give you a happy birthday shout out. So we're going to talk about your birthday at the end of the show. Give you a little hype up, Oh,
well, yeah. Well, thank you. But
was it before we get? I don't want to just blow vibes. Was it a good birthday?
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, had some of my family, famous baked ziti for dinner, so that was delicious.
Oh, lovely.
Lovely. And nothing crazy. Just kind of what can you do in 2021 right now? So not too much. So yeah, it was good.
Perfect. So we'll jump into all that, and we want to hear from the chat as well as always on this Monday night. But let's get things kicked off with a little clickbait. Zach, you want to get us started?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So clickbait. So I say this all the time, but Sports Illustrated reads clickbait as well as ESPN and some of our other notable sources. So there was an article that came out this morning that said Drew Brees is retiring following the Saints sale. The Saints playoff run. It's Monday. while everyone is thinking that, he didn't come out and retire yet. And this article literally said that he is retiring. And yes, we all think that, but it's not official yet. And they made it seem like he's done. And at the end of the article, the last 2 sentences says, he has not made his official statement yet. Are you serious? After I read this garbage.
Zach, you want to know the funny thing? The one person who has confirmed that report is Jay Glazer.
No, that's right, Glazer. Yeah. That's who it was.
That one report a year.
Yeah.
But there it was. It's like that shooting star once a year.
Part of my take today literally was like, Jay Glazer reported it, so we don't know.
Exactly.
I feel like with the way it all. So, but yeah, I mean, I think Drew Brees is done, though. I mean, we'll obviously jump into all the games and stuff and probably bite into that apple a little bit more in the show later. But, I mean, I don't know what you guys think just off the top. I mean, I think it's over.
One of the best to ever play the game.
I mean, it's one of those things where, I don't know how Drew Brees gets away from this because we do it all the time with Brady, but, you see the regular season where Brady just refuses to throw the ball down the field. He's old, he's saving himself for the playoffs, and you actually did see a couple more shots in yesterday's game down the field. But Drew Brees I don't think he threw one pass more than 20 yards. So when you get to see that, that's when you know a quarterback's getting to the end there. It's maybe their mind is still there. Yeah, he makes the decisions he's making are still fine. They're still good decisions. It's just he doesn't have the ability to throw the ball down the field. So it's tough.
All right, about that real quick. So I found, seriously, we talk about clickbait. And for anyone that's, did anyone do any fantasy? Let's go to the chat real quick. Let's entertain that real quick before I do my clickbait. Do you guys do any fantasy basketball this year, Zach? I know you usually play that.
I used to do it for 8 years in a row, and then I've recently stopped. I've gotten on the hockey bandwagon. So I did fantasy hockey this year with some random people I don't know just for fun. And that's been interesting so far. So I'm learning. It's good.
Yeah, we play each other tonight in 30
7:30.
minutes. Yeah, sure. 22 minutes, actually. All right, but to that point, let's I'll go to my clickbait real quick. So it's funny. There's certain times you see it. And I'm actually glad. This show is almost like therapy for me in a sense, because when you see something that's just so bad, it makes you want to vomit. And this might be one of the worst articles I've ever seen. And I was also trying to explain before what clickbait is for the new viewers in our audience. But what it is we find articles or tweets or things of that nature and call them out when we just know all they are for clicks. So this is right at the top of the list. It's funny. This is a perfect example. Baseball hasn't exactly worked out according to this US Today or US Today sports article. So could Tim Tebow come back to the NFL, perhaps with his former college coach Urban Meyer in Jacksonville? The whole Florida reunion. I mean, it actually is special. When you see these articles, because it really proves to me how anyone can write anything on the internet. I mean, when you really, it's that just out there. I mean, really, and I would love to know how many people clicked on that. I would love to do a brain survey and say how many people believe that. Because that would really show us how many stupid people are in this. Well, not really, but it would give me some type of snapshot about how many stupid people are in maybe Jacksonville. But I mean, it's oh my God. I mean, right?
Yeah. Tim Tebow's 33 years old. I think he hasn't been in the NFL in quite some time. So it's focus. That's it. This was a gem that you found. That's for sure.
I try. Yeah. That's it. So real quick, before we jump into the recaps, speaking of, Urban Meyer being hired by the Jaguars, there were a few. I feel like between our last show and this show, there were a lot of head coaches being hired. Obviously, Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. Staley went to the Chargers. Dan Campbell went to the Lions. Robert Saleh went to the Jets, and Arthur Smith went to the Falcons. So, I mean, and then obviously, Chad, you guys, the Eagles are still open, and the Texans are still open. And then there's rumors today that Josh McDaniels and you guys might be a thing. And then you interviewed Todd Bowles, I think, this afternoon. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate you taking up his Monday afternoon today. That actually really means a lot to me. So I really appreciate that. And I hope you bring him back for a second interview. Make him at least work for a second interview this week. Can you call him back? Call him back. We had a good time. It was a first date. Come on. Todd deserves a call.
If we're calling Todd Bowles back for a second interview, that'll give me way too much anxiety. So I hope we don't do that.
But you really help me out. You don't have to hire him. Sometimes it's the second date that people don't realize that they
Is
want
it
to go
bad
on.
that I don't want to hire anybody? I kind of just want to roll.
Once on Hinge, there's the second date I got, cut away. I mean, it can be just all you can do a clean break.
Yeah,
You'd help me this week.
Sure. Right. I mean, maybe the only thing he could be good for is that, like, we were caught off guard in a year that we didn't think we were going to have to hire a new coach, and then we can just bring in a new coach that we're going to fire right away anyway. Like, that's pretty much what I'm expecting anyway. So, like, maybe Todd Bowles is the man for that.
And then, did you see the Schefter tweet today saying that, like, there's sources around the league saying that the Texans' job is, like, toxic and, like, no one even, like, wants to interview or take it? Like, come on, that's kind of clickbait, I think, in its own right.
Yeah, but I mean, we're indulging into a part of football that we've never seen before, which is more like basketball. I mean, you've seen all that with Watson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's some stuff. It just doesn't happen. You don't see quarterbacks like we saw it with Le'Veon. That was the start of it. But you don't see quarterbacks. And granted, he hasn't done it yet, but it just seems like he's going to. You don't see quarterbacks that are just like, nah, I'm not going to play for you anymore. So.
Okay, but so I think here's like it's tough, right? Because I know you're right, but I also think I don't know what's going on in that building. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know, like, because like I'll kick this back. Let's say I agree with you, but what happens when he signed that huge deal? Part of that contract was something like some type of clause, like, yeah, you get some type of say in moves, right? Like, and then they didn't give him say in moves, and he felt like that contract was breached. He's like, I'm out of here. You breached my contract. I want out of here. Like, and I don't know what happened. I'm just saying, I'm just playing devil's advocate for the sake of a dialogue. But right, like, because I don't know, but I would argue at least, and the reason why I'm at least making the argument, not just to blow smoke up everyone's rear end, but I feel like, right, the Texans, and Grant, a lot of this was Bill O'Brien, but they made some really stupid. They have no draft picks. They have no money, right? Like, it is literally the worst type of job to take. Like, it's going to be it's like a program in college football that's like under sanctions, right? I mean, what Bill O'Brien did, trading away DeAndre Hopkins, right? Like, they're horrible.
Well, no, it's terrible. That's what you're laying out exactly why the job is toxic.
I know, but
you're getting no players from an offensive or defensive standpoint. You're getting no picks in the next 3 years, and you're getting a team with no money, and then you're losing the only player on the team is the quarterback, and you're about to lose him too. So, you have JJ Watt, who's like 90 years old.
I know, it's bad.
Yeah, you could trade him for picks. Yeah,
it's bad.
I mean, that's what you're going to have to do.
Real quick, what would you think of Josh McDaniels going to the Eagles?
I personally, of all the candidates that are left out there, like I think you roll the dice with the Patriots guy. As much as it pains me to say it, and the Giants still did not have a winning season, you saw the tides turn when somebody came in there and asked for some accountability, or not just asked, but made you have some accountability. So that's the kind of thing you get from the Patriots organization is everybody's going to be held accountable, and maybe that's something that the Eagles need right now. So, like, that's all I got from that standpoint. X's and O's. I really don't think the head coach out there that can be better than Doug in that aspect, which is why I'm still upset that we fired the man. But you got to roll with the punches now. And I think, yes, accountability is something that we are looking for, and that's what you're going to get from a Patriot hire.
And Zach, what about your neighbors?
Yeah, no, I agree with what you use the accountability thing with other coaches we've seen come out of his network. And, I mean, I like Eric Bieniemy still. I mean, I know that's like a hot name that's been around for 2 years, but I think he'd be really well in Philadelphia. And I know, like, and Chad, I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know how you feel about this, but I know Deuce Staley's name was brought up. I don't know if I see him more of a head coach type person, but I think he'd be really good for the culture, and that's been his life as an Eagle. So I think the players would respond really well to him. I don't know what your thought is on Deuce.
So I really like Deuce as a person, as a coach, all across the board. I like him. The reason I don't want Deuce to be our head coach, and it sounds very weird and just about how I am as a fan, but I don't want Deuce to go through the scrutiny that he is going to go through being the Philadelphia Eagles head coach. He just doesn't deserve it. Like, he would be walking into hell in his first ever time taking over a team. And basically, you correct it, you're fine, great, and he'll be well respected. But if he's not able to turn around the bus that's, crashing into 7 other buses currently, he's gonna get all the blame, and then everyone's gonna hate him, which is just, you don't want to see that. So yes, I love him as a person and as a coach, but I think it'd just be the wrong play to give him the reins when there's nothing there right now.
That's a valid point. And something that a lot of coaches probably don't think about. So it's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, I found Dan Campbell to be an interesting hire, right? Because I feel like he's almost one of those guys, like a Hall of Fame inductee that just feels like he was never going to get in, but like after so many years of like his name being brought up and then being passed over, right? Like, but he got a job with Detroit, obviously in the NFC North. But I'm interested to see how that hire goes too.
Yeah, that was kind of a surprise. That was kind of a surprise.
There we go. Hey.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise hire for me too. I don't. It's interesting. I don't know if that necessarily makes them a better team. It just.
I know. To be fair, I'm like putting. It's kind of like what is there really to say? It's like, I guess we'll see. Just like normally with the Lions, where it's like
it's gonna be really.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was saying it's contingent on what they do with the quarterback and what happens with Stafford if he's still there or whatever. So I think that's like a package deal type thing. They're like so. But
I just didn't know we were talking about the Lions. That's all.
No, I know. Well, you never know where this show is going to go, right? I mean, we got Lions, Tigers, we got Sabres, right, Zach?
Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Playing each other in hockey.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
From the hockey series. All right. I'll tell you. Let's move into the divisional games, though, right? I mean, that's what the nitty gritty of the show is, anyway. So let's dive into it. All right. I'm not going to be like, guys. Let's
now, can't be like that, because you gotta. These moments are rare. It's funny. Actually, this is a perfect way to just dive into this segment. I've got a stat for you that I found out today that I was not expecting to find. The Packers, you just, to your point of like saying like, it's hard to get there. Packers have made the last 7 NFC championships. They've made the last 4. Wow.
They've won 0 of those.
Well, they've all been on the road.
Sure. So no, but to that point, I'm not, and this is not me trying to like, be cynical or be unappreciative or whatever. But like, the way I look at it is, it's okay. It's the second game of the tournament. Like, we have been there. We don't win this game. I'm nervous. I'm anxious. I mean, that's where we are. Yes, I'm excited. Like, I'm not. Look, like, because we're doing a show in March or April. We're gonna be like whining and crying about how there's like nothing really interesting going on and stuff, and like how I wish Temple had made the tournament, and how I'm gonna be just sitting watching Packer highlights in the spring. But like, you want to keep this going. It's like I've gotten off this exit 4 times in a row. Like I want to keep going. Like on the turnpike.
It's nerve wracking, but that's kind of what the playoffs. I mean, we've all been there with not just our football teams, but just all of our teams. Like, it's not the easiest thing in the world to go through a playoff run as a fan, but it's all the emotions you go through are just incredible to me. Like, you have the sheer joy that you don't get in most other aspects of life. Yes, like you find a girl that you love, you marry her, blah blah blah. You'll get it then. But for the most part, you don't see that kind of emotion and thrill outside of sports. So you have that, and then just the sad. I don't even know. It's like it's not someone in your family dying, but it's damn near close. Like you see me on your couch. Yeah, like you see me on your couch after the Eagles' last game of the season. Like it's I'm like a half of a person.
Yeah. I'll never forget. I always think about this story at the 49ers game last year in the NFC Championship game, where the Packers got their doors blown off. And I remember going out there off into the night, and just I think it was class, and I just heard like inside this music. Is he gonna be all right out there? And I think it was you were joking. You were like, yeah, he'll be all right. It's just, it's gonna take us some time. Like, all right, so real quick before we dive into this game, let's go into the chat real quick because we haven't talked to them in a second. So Chad, you got the crew here. What are you thinking about the Sixers real quick in the playoff chase?
Well, what was that, Basil? Yeah, of course he's asking irrelevant questions that make no sense at this time, but I'll answer it.
Oh, it's been a while. Give the people what they want. It's all right.
No, it's just the fact that it's Basil asking the question. That's really all I said. The playoff chances. I mean, we're first or second in the East right now, so I'd say they're pretty damn good. I will say this though, like I really like this team. I really like the coach. We haven't been able to see them all together for an extended period of time due to COVID. But like they're just gelling. Like they gel so well together. And as long as Embiid plays, like they seem like a really, really, really good team that you know it's going to be tough to push out of the playoffs. So I'm liking it so far.
Yeah, I concur. All right, so let's jump. Let's jump into it then. All right, so real quick before we do, let's actually go way to reset because let's pull up the whole playoff tree right before we just start going to the game. So here we go. We're in the final four, as they say. Wow, this really didn't update. I have the unupdated bracket. That's perfect here. Good job, man. All right, let's move over to the next one. Championship Sunday. You can same idea, same effect, folks. Here we go. Ready? Because the winner's going to play the winner of the Super Bowl. All right. So Buccaneers Packers will kick it off at 3:05 on Fox on Championship Sunday, and then followed by Bills at Kansas City, the defending Super Bowl champs, defending their crown at Arrowhead. Look at those eyes, Zach. Whoa, my! I wish the camera caught that because I had the graphic up. You're feeling this Buffalo. I feel like Vince Vaughn. I'm like in Wedding Crashers. I'm like, you're falling for this fraud, aren't you? Like, you're like no. Like I still, it's like. But no, I get it. It's a sweet spot. And like, I don't know what to do because, first of all, I this is not me being holier than thou and acting like the Packers are automatically going to win this game. Just pretending for a second if they somehow find a way to exercise the demons of the NFC Championship and go into the Super Bowl. I feel like Buffalo is scary, but like, how can you really? You don't want to play the Chiefs, the defending champs, like you're trying to win their. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I think either Bills or the Chiefs. You know, I feel like they're both pretty equally hot right now.
Scary.
Yeah, like the Bills are just playing out of this world right now. You know, they're really fun to watch, and Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen are like just robotic together. It's like every game, at least like 7 or 8 catches for at least 120 yards and 1 touchdown. You know, it's just the chemistry is unreal there right now, and it's good to see. You know, it's not to sound like everyone else in the world, but it's nice to see the Bills doing this, and it was good to see the Browns go into the divisional round too. It's good to see those teams with fan bases who've really been hurting for like 20, 30 years. So.
Yeah, I know, right? By the way, Uncle Ricky, what's up? We got to give him some love in the chat.
I was seeing the chat.
I did see. He was talking about Rodgers hosting Jeopardy, and then he's pulling for Kansas City now.
Is he?
Huh. Yeah. Which makes a little sense after the old Bills took out the Ravens this weekend. Which we gotta give him a shout out though, right? Yeah. But I'll say let's take a look real quick at this game. Which one do I start with? I mean, I had the Packers in my notes first, but there's 4 games. Like, and it's quite frankly, I could throw this out the window.
Let's just go in order of how they went. Packers were first.
All right, let's do that. All right. All right. So. We get the 32-18 W. It was interesting. I mean, it was a 1-possession game with 7 minutes to go. So it's one of those games where the Packers had control. They're up, 16-3. They're feeling good. But it gets tightened in at the end with the 25-18. I have, like I said, that stat that this is going to be their 4th NFC championship in 7 years, but they've lost all of them. I do have a couple other interesting things I wanted to bring up in this game. But I'll tell you what, I think there's so many different kind of like layers in this, but I'll tell you, I'm going to put it back to you guys. I feel like, we normally do these shows and I'm always the one, it's like, oh, Karen, what do you think about the game? I'm going to throw it to you guys as a non-biased. I mean, obviously I'll give my unbiased opinion on the show, but like, what did you guys think first of it?
I know for me, like I was never once worried that the Packers were going to lose this game, to be honest. Like I just thought they had it in control, even though it was 1 score. The Rams are one of those teams that, to me, they beat all like the middle of the road guys, and every now and then they'll beat a really good team, and then sometimes they'll lose to a bad team like the Jets. But the Packers are just like in a league of their own, I feel like, or they're in that top tier, and the Rams just aren't there. So I was never really too concerned as a unbiased sports fan, honestly.
Yeah, that's it's pretty spot on. Like, no point in time during that game did I think the Rams were going to win. But the thing that scares you is that like a couple different players in that defense can make a sizable impact in the game. Now, what I think the Packers did really well was I think the game plan for Jalen Ramsey. And you don't always want to say, especially Devontae, because he talks himself up at this point because he is that good of a receiver where he can talk the talk because he certainly does, walk.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily like talk about game planning for a defensive back, and I really think they did. Like that little pass at the 2 or 3 yard line with Devontae to score his touchdown, like that's not a play you've seen from the Packers. Like, and he was running full speed. Like that was designed for Devontae to run full speed across the field and Jalen Ramsey to get stuck in traffic before the play even starts. That's exactly what happened. Like, you saw Ramsey immediately screaming at the rest of his defense. Like, dude, like, how are they supposed to know to move while Devontae is running full speed instead of a normal motion where the guy's running, 20% across the field? And then there's usually even another, like, half second before the ball is even snapped. No, like, it was just right across the field, snap, right away, boom, touchdown. Like, it was that quick. So I mean, I think they really took their time in preparing for this game. And I just, like I said, like the Rams are a defensive team, and that's about the only thing that scares you with them. So once you shut the run game down offensively for them, like there's just not much hope for them. Even if Jared Goff, people were talking about his thumb, I think Jared Goff could have had a healthy hand, and it would not have mattered a single bit. So.
And I'll tell you, it's interesting because I'll throw this at you. I think there's different moments in the game, and there's a couple plays in the game, but there's one I wanted to highlight. It's when Marquez Valdes-Scantling converted on that 3rd and 3, right? So you catch that pass on that that sideways pass because of screen. And it's that second ditch. I'm going to play the replay of it here. It's that second ditch effort just to lunge over and get that line of game to move the chains. Because what that did was it was 2 plays later. That's to set up the Allen Lazard touchdown and basically put the game away. I mean, that's everything. So I thought that was huge. I thought Jared Alexander was fantastic. I thought he was the best cornerback out there. I also thought another play just that stood out to me was that Aaron Rodgers end zone throw, where Aaron Donald was breathing down his neck. The defensive line was caving in on him, and he finds a way to force that throw to convert to Allen Lazard. And it's funny, Chad, because you guys were talking about Jalen Ramsey. That was Jalen Ramsey on that play. Here, I'll put the replay of it again, and you can see, it's Jalen Ramsey. Sorry,
I forgot about that play. Yeah, that play, that was because obviously, not obviously, but to me and you, it's obvious that we watched the game together. We're just talking like Rodgers just seems like no matter what, he knows exactly where to go inside the pocket. With just no fear either. Like, that's when you get the safeties in the NFL, most times it's not even the quarterback getting tackled in the end zone. It's the quarterback being in the pocket, not knowing where he is, and like being like, oh crap, I need to throw this ball away, and throwing it away while still in the pocket, boom, safety. Like it's incredible the wherewithal he has inside of that pocket.
Did you notice that during the game, the way he was throwing the ball, like it seemed a little different? Like when he would come through, he would like spiral it out, like so it was a little tighter, maybe to get over the line quicker or get a little.
There was
more
some
juice.
wind. There's a lot of wind, so I think it had a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm. Little things like that you don't see some quarterbacks do, and it's like Chad, kind of how you mentioned, just like how he knows where everyone's going to be. Like he's just so calm, cool, and collected. It's like I've never seen a quarterback with just that much ice in his veins before. Like he's just flatlined, it seems like, no matter what the situation, and he's just playing blind. So.
And we talk, I want to bring this up too. We talk so much about these, I mean, right, like, and Matt LaFleur credit all the players, and obviously they remain part of this, but he needs credit too. I mean, look, think about it real quick right now. It's his second year, still going on. He's got a 28-7 NFC North titles. He's been in the NFC Championship both years as head coach. It's the best start by head coach in Green Bay since Vince Lombardi. I mean, that's That's incredible. I mean, when you step back and think about that accomplishment, that history, and that franchise, he needs a lot of credit. And it's funny because we talk about, I feel like unfortunately for him, everyone says, oh, well, you have Aaron Rodgers, so like that's why you're good. It's like, well, no, like it's the same people saying that were the ones saying that it wasn't going to work between the two of them because Aaron Rodgers wasn't coachable and Matt LaFleur was just some guy who never called plays before in Tennessee, right? Like it's stupid.
If anything, it's more credit to him because when you're given a quarterback with the resume that Aaron Rodgers has and the clout that he has, LaFleur needs Rodgers, someone like Rodgers, to buy into his system and build that chemistry with him, and he did that perfectly. And mind you, he did that in his first year with the torn Achilles. Remember in training camp? So I don't know. There was just a lot going on with those two, and for him to make it what it is, it's really special. And you're exactly right. I think he gets lost because Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback.
And I'm looking at Rodgers. I mean, he had two passing touchdowns, one rushing touchdown. He was 23 for 36 with 296 yards. I also feel like the defense needs credit though too. Rashawn Gary was great. Zarius Smith was great. Preston Smith was really good at tipping passes, getting active. They looked all right. I mean, but to that point, Jared Goff threw some balls on some ropes, right? I mean, like, I actually will punt it over to you. This is my interpretation. This is not me trying to make myself feel better about myself, but like, I don't know. I thought Jared Goff played pretty well. He looked like a guy trying to win a job.
I mean, that's kind of the point I was making was like, at what point in time did he struggle with his throws? And that was the whole storyline leading up to the game, and even through the game was Jared Goff in that thumb. Like, how many times did we hear that throughout the game? But he wasn't struggling to make the passes. Like, he was making every throw he needed to make. They weren't good enough to beat you. Like, it was just that plain and simple. Was you were the better team, both offensively and actually, like, their defense is better than your defense, but your defense showed out way better they did in that game. So,
yeah, and it'll be interesting, right? I mean, obviously, they'll play Tampa Bay, and we'll dive into the whole Tampa Bucs game. And I like what Beals was saying too about how the coach and the QB preparation was just unmatched, and nothing surprises Rodgers. I think that, and to your point about the pocket presence and stuff, and I think, right, he is playing really well, but I also think that offensive line, he didn't get sacked. That's another thing. Yeah. I think that's so important in this whole equation. Because I think about how he was one of the sacked quarterbacks a few years ago when McCarthy got fired.
Right. Well, I mean, that's huge for any team, but going along with the coach and QB preparation is, I know you won't say it, but I'm going to say it for you, is we're in year 2 of the Packers, and going into this, everyone was saying no shot Rodgers can gel with another coach because he's too big of a type A personality, all that stuff. Like, did we all see them hugging pregame? Like, they're pretty good together. Like, yeah, you might see them yelling at each other on the sidelines when stuff's going wrong, but that's just a normal, relationship. Like, there's going to be good times and bad times, but it seems like those two gel pretty darn well.
I'm going to disagree. Zach, do you have any comments?
No, that's a great point, Chad, about the hug, because I was watching it too. That was a long hug. That wasn't like that wasn't like a pat on the back, 3-second guy. That was like a 30-second, like, whispering sweet nothings in the ears too. It was good.
that was love, is what that was. And all right, and also Kenny Clark was also phenomenal. I thought stopping the run, he was great. Lucas Patrick was phenomenal too, playing the offensive line for them. I thought the trench stars, if you will, were those two guys on both sides of the ball. Now, Chad, we were doing this thing last week, like going through the playoff picture and like breaking down these games, and we were like kind of do like, it's like, right, if you're listening to our podcast and your team lost, like, it sucks. Like it's like a hangover, and people are talking about like going out to drink like that day, and you're just like, stop talking. Like, okay, but let's do something. Let's give them the hangover cure, right? Whatever that is. And we kind of do where do we go from here now for the team that just got knocked out? So, looking at the Rams, I mean, I don't think it's probably a pretty generic way of going about it, but I think, right, Jared Goff's probably the center point of this conversation. I don't know what you guys think. Where do we go with LA?
I think for me is you basically dethrone the Seahawks in a sense as the top guys in that division, even though they didn't finish first in regular season. I mean, you knocked them out in the playoffs. The 49ers fell down. The Cardinals are still kind of in the middle there. I think that's a big takeaway. I feel like if you look at the division right now, I think the Seahawks are on the decline. I think Niners are going to be pretty stagnant, and I think this is the Rams' turn again in the division. I think so. For me, that's a good, just from a picture perspective.
Now, Zach, you were skeptical. I can't even talk. Skeptical of them. Okay, it's been a bad day. At least there, I finally got it out. This is me hosting. But right of this team, and I feel like are they? You're not. I mean, because you're saying all these things, right? Like you're giving the positive spin on the show, like it's Mojo Monday. But like, do you believe this? Like, are we gonna sit here in June talking football, and you're gonna be sitting here saying, do you care? The Rams are the team. They're the cream of the crop in the NFC East or the NFC West. They dethroned the Seahawks, right? Like the 49ers declined. Like the Cardinals were like all over the place. This is me getting nervous, by the way, because we're about to get to the Bucs game, and I'm just like, but right. I mean, but I guess to answer that, right? Like, do you feel good about them moving forward?
I mean, I didn't have high expectations for them this year, and they didn't make the playoffs last year, right? I think they were out last season because it was the Niners and Seahawks were in, I believe.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So yeah. So I think making that big of a jump and getting to the divisional round is huge. And to answer the question, I think it's between them and Arizona next year. I think Seattle's just going to start free falling a little bit. But I would say the Rams, not to get too far ahead. Yes, I will be talking about the Rams in June.
Whitworth, he get pushed around in that game. Sorry, Chad, what were you saying?
No, I mean, I think the Rams defense is not going anywhere. So that's going to be a force, and you can always sit back on that. But, I mean, here's the thing, and we all saw it, is the offense has to improve. Now, good news for Rams fans is they have a running back. So, I mean, Cam Akers, throughout the regular season, he was kind of just building, and then you saw him explode in the first playoff game, and he had himself a pretty decent day against the Packers as well. I mean, he didn't pop off for any massive runs, but he was definitely more than serviceable as a running back. So him coming back will be huge. I think the X factor, we say it's Jared Goff, but I don't really consider that to be an X factor for them. Like, McVay calls that offense completely. Like, he will be making adjustments up until the 15-second clock it goes off in Jared Goff's helmet. So, like, I don't necessarily think Jared Goff's the X factor. I think the X factor is that receiving core. Like, a couple of years back when they went to the Super Bowl, you had Robert Woods, Bob Woods. Like, that guy was kind of came out of nowhere. Cooper Kupp, who was unfortunately injured for this playoff game. So, like, those are the two guys that you're going to need to rely on heavily, and they're going to have big seasons. But what I do think is a huge positive for them was Van Jefferson getting some run in that playoff game. He had 5 or 6 catches, I want to say, for like 60 yards. So yeah, you can build off that. Like, he can be that wide receiver that comes in for 15, 20 snaps a game and provides some sort of help, leverage across the field, any of that, right? The biggest thing that I said when you compare anything we talk about with Justin Jefferson and the Eagles is, yeah, he may have had a great season out with Minnesota, but on the Eagles, there would be no one on the other side, like Adam Thielen, that would take away any of the defenders to make him as good as he was. So having multiple wide receivers within your group, that is where you see the big potential for people getting a lot of yards and completing the football. So I think the wide receiver core is going to be the X factor next year.
And I think to add to that real quick, their tight ends were just inconsistent. Higbee and Everett, they were like kind of non-existent. I saw that's what Chris Beal said in the chat about that big body. I think if one of those guys can step up or they improve that position on offense, I think that also helps big time. So
now I feel like I've been like harping on this game like so. All right, we got to get off the Packers game because we'll get to the Bucs and chat. Well, out here because you guys were a hell of an awesome support line. Zach, you were remote. Chad, you were in person. Right? No. But no, you were there. Yeah, you were there with every step of the way, right? Yeah. And everyone in between, right? My family, Emily was there for me. Like, we had the whole support system. Joe P was there in the living room. RV. And class was there. It was a beautiful scene. And then it was also, I even got the pictures here. Joe G and Kelly were rocking the Packers jerseys. This is awesome. This is incredible. This is a magical moment. This is a beautiful thing. And then our my buddy Nick down in Louisville, him and his buddy Jackson, they both had cheese heads on there. It was awesome. So he sent me this. So I thought those were cool. So that was a pretty awesome support system. All right, now let me stop being biased and hogging the show with the Packers. Let's move over. Let's talk about this Ravens-Bills game, right? Okay, and we gotta be gentle. Uncle Ricky is a Ravens fan. We gotta be gentle with this, all right? So let's walk through this. Answer me this question: was it a good game?
I mean,
the answer is no because you guys pausing.
Yeah, the answer is no, but it was 3-3 at halftime. So
it was a close game.
Close, at least.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It didn't go anywhere. It didn't go any of the ways that I thought it was going.
It was. I don't know. I look back at this game and I just think, like, what did I mean? Here, I'll double down. I'll ask you guys the same question I was asking myself because I didn't even come up with an answer. What is the takeaway from this game? Like, bro, okay, obviously, like, we can go in two directions, right? We can go with the Ravens direction, which let's wait for that one. We'll do the where are they going now thing, because that's the general topic for the team that got knocked out anyway. So let's look at the Bills. Like, what did we learn about them, right? Gritty. I mean, I'll start maybe this time because I punted the Packers stuff over to you guys. Gritty win, right? It's a gritty playoff. Like, these guys haven't won playoff games in like 25 years. So, like, the fact that they're just winning playoff, like, that's healthy. That's a healthy thing for their culture. And they won by 14 points, right? Like, so it's a win. Stephon Diggs still played really well. Josh Allen found a way to get the win for him, even though, like, Ray wasn't the sexiest thing offensively for them. So I think that's the takeaway. Let me see what else I had. Obviously, the pick six saved them. I might as well play the B-roll so we have, like, so people can actually have some highlights by it, not to see me rambling on. But right, I mean, the Johnson pick was huge, and that's the second interception in the postseason this year. And I think the other thing I look at with the Bills too is their 8th straight win, and that's the best streak they've had since 1990. Right, so it's the first AFC championship they're going to since 1994. But to win 8 straight games the first time since 90, that's still pretty good. I mean, obviously they're riding their defense, but it was a good win. Why are we watching Colts highlights?
Yeah, and I think all 8 of those wins were by double digits too, if I remember correctly. But I think a big thing that has been getting lost with the Bills talk is their defense. So yeah, obviously the pick six was big, but they forced, they basically, the run for the Ravens was nothing. They had 3 points. And another thing with running the ball, I was almost going to say the Buffalo Sabres. The Bills only ran the ball 16 times in that game, and 7 of those were Josh Allen runs. So there was only, 9 running back runs.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, so this is an interesting point real quick. I'll almost keep this conversation spinning off that point, Zach. Does it make you feel better that they can stop the run more than it concerns you that they can't run the ball? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's something's going to give in this next game because, right, like, first of all, I'll make my point, I guess, real quick, just because, whatever, I guess I don't know why I'm making the points person this little segment. Right, I mean, Kansas City's offense, as much as everyone wants to talk about Patrick Mahomes and how great he is, it flows through their run game and their running backs, right? Like, they right, I mean, Chad, you remember from the Andy Reid days in Philadelphia, it's the same idea. I mean, right, like, the way they use their running backs, the way they incorporate their run game into their passing game is so important. So if the Bills can take that away, that's huge. But at the same point, you can't go on the road in Arrowhead and not chew up some clock, run the ball effectively, especially when the Chiefs secondary is playing pretty well and their defense has been playing better, getting some pressure.
Yeah, well, I was gonna make kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. No, go ahead, Chad.
We might be on the same wavelength. Yeah, I really think this is going to be a passing game. I think if Mahomes is playing, like, both teams are just going to spread it out, and we're going to get a little bit of a bloodbath. Like, I mean, I know Kansas City's defense is playing better down the stretch, and I know the Bills have been sitting on their defense, but I just don't think it is physically possible to contain Patrick Mahomes for 4 quarters. So I think both teams. It's weird as you don't usually see both teams game planning for this, but I think both teams are going to be trying to run up the score and get points as quickly as possible. I don't think it's going to be one of those games where one team is just trying to eat clock. Like, I don't think the Bills. I think if you have that mindset, you're almost trying to lose. Like, it's like you can do that against most NFL teams. But when you play a Brady or a Mahomes, again, they are just locked in a Rodgers where they're locked in, they're scoring points at will. You can't be that team that just sits there and is like, I need to chew up the clock and run the ball and then see if we can get in the end zone. Like, you need to have that will and desire to push that ball deep down the field and score as quickly as you can.
Yeah, no, exactly. And what I was going to also add, I feel like the Bills' offense is a little. I know Andy Reid with his running backs, I know that, but like I feel like the Bills' offense is a little bit similar to the Chiefs as far as their passing game and what they do there, with both quarterbacks being semi-comparable. I'd say from their elusiveness and just ability to scramble and throw the ball on the run and the athleticism. I feel like they're pretty similar. I know like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I know he's not playing obviously, but when it was him and Bell, I thought they only each got maybe 8 touches a game. So I just think both teams are pretty pass heavy. And like Chad, to your point, I think that's how it's going to be.
And Baltimore, I mean, you think about it, they've led the league in rushing the last 2 years, and they had 32 rushing attempts just all together for 150 yards. Like, yikes. So to that point, let's talk about that for a second, right? Like, where do we go from here? And I like what Beals was saying, how Lamar is the most dangerous person on the field at any given game, but like you gotta make him make those throws, and he's not like, in my opinion, like I'm not trying to like spin into like that take on FS1 or whatever. Like, say like, did he really prove anything this playoffs? Like, I'm sure that's the segment. I didn't watch any of the sports segments today, but I'm sure, that's some point that someone's making. Like empathize would be here. Like let's not BS each other, but what is the takeaway from the Ravens playoff run this year, and what do you think about them moving forward? And to that point, I agree with Bill's in chat. Like, I think that Lamar still needs to make some throws in general in his career. Like, are we like basically, is he growing so fast that we're almost going hard on him now at this point, or is this something that's like, all right, we're getting here. It's year 3. You won the MVP. Like, this should have been more of a run. Like, I don't like where are we at?
He needs to throw for more than 3,000 yards a season.
Yeah. I mean, so. I don't really know where we are per se, but what I think we get caught up in this day and age, and I think social media plays into it because everyone has an opinion, is quarterbacks, players who are like whatever it is. It's not made overnight. Like year 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4, you're gonna have growing pains. You're gonna have times where the player looks like they're the best player on the field, and then times where they're the worst player on the field. Now, certain fans don't know how to deal with that, and that's okay. But I think our national media at this point in time has been like, the second you get drafted, you have to perform, or you're just going to be labeled as that guy that doesn't have it fully. But like, you can't just be Patrick Mahomes. Like that doesn't just happen. Like, there is times where players need to have some years to just grow into their number 1 role on their team, and then number 2, just to become the player that they need to become. Like, I'll go back to the Packers again, just because it stuck with me from the broadcast. Was they're talking about again year 2? It's incredible what Rodgers is doing. They use the word incredible. It's incredible what Rodgers is doing in the second year of a new offense. So, like, if you have NFL analysts that study the game and that's all they do all year long, they study the game of football, they're telling you that it is incredible that a Hall of Fame quarterback has almost mastered his new offense in 2 years. Like, that should tell you something. These guys are coming from college where they have, I'd say, about 50 to 60% of the language that they're using in the NFL. So they have about 40 to 50% gap of language they just need to learn. And then they have to be able to process that and make the plays in real time, which in the NFL is like that. So it's challenging.
Well, I'll tell you something that's incredible. Ready? Let me throw a stat at you as we move over into the Sunday games real quick. So here's an interesting stat that I texted Zach about today. Chad, I think I didn't tell you this one actually. So get this. So obviously both these teams, the Packers play the Bucs, Bills will play the Chiefs. And it's funny because the Bills, I'm like trying to think of how to hype this up and like do like a fighting, like, you know, type of thing, like to hype the crowd up for the stat. Because I was proud of myself for finding this today. But and this was not, I didn't read this in an article. I found this on my own on ESPN, but kind of. But all right. So anyway, the Bills and the Chiefs played each other week 6. Bills lost. Packers played the Bucs week 6. Packers lost. So both teams that lost are playing each other again.
And they
both
played
week 6. They lost. Yeah.
And they
played, everyone played each other week 6. The results were what they were. Now they're rematching, but it's in both places. It's the opposite location. And what was the other thing I was just going to add into this? This is the whole point. I was going to bring it up. Well, this is exactly. I overhyped myself.
You both lost by more than 14. Is that what it was?
No.
Lost by more than 14. Is that what it was?
No.
Because
it wasn't that interesting. I was going to say that like the teams that lost played on Saturday, the teams that won played on Sunday. So basically, I figured that's why I'd save like the spinning in of looking at these other games. Obviously, we'll talk about on Thursday, but more in depth. But I mean, that's pretty interesting.
It is, and this is a season of like ebbs and flows. I feel like, and this just falls right into that. So hopefully the tides turn and they're a little different for this week.
Yeah, hey, if you're a fan of those teams, but maybe there's fans of the Bucs and the Chiefs. Come on out. All right, let's look at that Browns-Chiefs game because the reason why the stage is set the way it is. I mean, would you guys agree with me that this was the best game of the weekend?
Yeah,
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I thought the Chiefs were going to mop the floor with the Browns. So, more good, credit to the Browns. I mean, you go to Arrowhead, you lose by 5. I mean, granted, Mahomes obviously got knocked out with the concussion, but Chad Henne is a good back. He's a very serviceable backup quarterback, as we saw. So, And
it's funny because I mean, there's a few takeaways I think I have in this game. This was a game, Zach, that I thought about. It's not about what you did right; it's about what you don't do wrong, right? And the Browns did too many things wrong in this game where you're just like, you can't do that. Like,
Rashard Higgins,
right. I mean, that's the obvious one. The Rashard Higgins touchdown snap through. I mean, I might as well roll the highlights while I'm at it.
Hold on, can we pause that right now and get this into a debate? Because Beal is actually great that he's on right now. I was yelling all yesterday. I think that's the worst rule in all of sports. I honestly hate that rule. I don't get it. I don't understand it. If you fumble anywhere else on the field and it goes out of bounds, you do not lose possession. So why on earth that it goes inches farther up the field? It's not only do you lose possession, but like the other team's getting the ball 20 yards up the field.
I completely agree. I think if anything, like maybe it's a 5-yard penalty or 10-yard penalty, but you still maintain possession. Completely agree. I think it's bogus. Yeah.
I'm an idiot, by the way. I cut the highlights like too early, so let me run the whole clip so people can be like, "What the hell is he talking about?" Right. I mean, and this was huge. I mean, here it is right here. Oh man.
That's the wrong one again.
It makes me cringe as a football fan seeing that. All right, but let's talk about the rule. I think
right here.
Yeah, I think that I'm okay with the rule because I think the main point is just to prevent people from just, trying to throw the ball over the pylon and making it look like, oh, shoot, I mean, I dropped it. The base said, I don't care if you dropped it. I don't care if you fumbled it. I don't care. It is what it is. Now, if you want to argue that it's too steep of a penalty that the other team automatically gets the ball at the 20 and starts going, I don't know. I mean, this doesn't happen enough that I care. And it also to be like, oh no, they need to change this. It's like, no, I'm not going to. I would challenge anyone that says change the rule. I'd be like, well, when's the last time that happened? Tell me when. Where you cared. Because it's like if you can't name it, then it's just like, all right. I mean, it's just because we're lost in the moment right now. We want to change a rule. I don't know. That's just my interpretation. But like, to me, I also think don't drop the ball. Like, Bradley, don't drop it.
That was Bills' point was, ball security and you know the rule as an NFL player, so you just shouldn't be extending if it's that important. But
let's think about it for a second, right? This in a world where we always talk about how this league favors the offense with the rules, like give the defense something.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not a showstopper.
You're not going to be able to convince me into this one, but I will say that you're making good points.
Okay, that's it. I like that. See, that's growth, Chad, for both of us. Like as a country, people need to hear something like that because I think I'm okay, Dave, all day. So this is beautiful that we're making progresses together, like with sports debate. All right, let's move over real quick though with the whole Henny given Sunday idea of this game. Right? This is, Chad Henny played well, Zach. What were you thinking when he enters that game?
Well, when Mahomes gets knocked out, instantly you're like, oh, well, the Browns are definitely in it now. Like, are the Browns going to win? Of course, like. You get those type of thoughts, because it's not Mahomes, it's a backup quarterback, and I think any other backup quarterback who isn't a veteran or has experience like Henny, especially because Henny's been in that system for a while too. Any other backup quarterback, I think, it can turn out a lot worse for the Chiefs. So,
and that 3rd and 14 run, Chad. Whew.
Yeah,
and he was moving. That was Daniel Jones-esque.
Yeah. Except Henny didn't trip over himself. So, so fun. But how about the 4th and inches play call to throw it to do the pass?
Yeah, the hill. Yeah.
I thought it was almost had a heart attack.
I know. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a run, but hey, that shows that Reed, trusts Henny. Good play design, obviously.
Also, I thought it was kind of funny when Henny loaded up and threw that interception. Just the amount of times you see a ball go up in the air like that for the Chiefs, like you just think Tyreek Hill or Mecole Hardman's going to be on the other end of that and catch a touchdown. So like the ball goes in the air, I'm like, oh, okay, well the Chiefs are still going to be the Chiefs, and it just was nowhere close.
Well, and
I thought that was hilarious.
I thought it spoke volumes too about you could look at this as a glass half empty or half full mentality. I love Andy Reid's confidence in his offense to go out there and win the game. It's almost like, what do you say about your defense? Well, actually, no, I think it's just trusting your defense because if you don't get it, you trust your defense to still get the stop. So, no, I think I actually love it. Now that I actually say that, that's just the first time I said it out loud today. And I found myself in that moment. All right, but no, it's a huge win for them. Mahomes should be fine, too. Right, that's the other part of this elephant in the room, if you will. I thought his head got knocked off, but
that was scary though. Like the way he got up and was he didn't have any control over his extremities.
It was hard. That was horrible.
Yeah, you don't like to see that. But I mean, the what I was saying to people at work and throughout the day is he was tweeting after the game. So like that's as little as it seems like is if you're looking at your phone, like you're probably not saying that he would have been okay to play the football game. He obviously wasn't. If you're looking at your phone the same day you got concussed, it's not.
They tell you not to do that. Concussion. So like I'm sure they would,
Yeah, it's not a major concussion where he's going to be out.
Even if it was like 50-50, like the Chiefs know this. Like they know people like us are talking about this. Like they wouldn't let him tweet that stuff out. Like if he, So I mean, go ahead, Zach.
No, I also heard someone reported that he also got like the wind knocked out of him too. Apparently, when he went that tackle, so I think it was a combination.
Yeah, that's happened to me where you just kind of lose your breath for a second before you get the spin or whatever and like spin into the wall.
Mm.
I don't know. Yeah, it's happened like once or twice. Maybe you don't eat.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not getting tackled by an NFL linebacker. I know that much. But all right, I think the other takeaway for me is, it's a good win for the Chiefs, right? I'm happy for Bryson and the crew. Got to give them some love out there. The Chiefs need to be a little bit better, though. That's my little takeaway. Grant, a win's a win, but the Bills are a different animal.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I feel like every playoff game in the Chiefs Stadium, something weird happens. Like, I'm not saying they lose, the game, but just something weird happens.
It's always a game
every time. Yeah, it's bizarre.
like something like the Steelers winning that divisional game where they didn't score a touchdown, but they still won the game. Like, think about that. Like, you go into Arrowhead, you're playing them, and you don't score a touchdown. They do score a touchdown, but you win the game. Like, but and then the other takeaway I have is, let's talk real quick about the Browns. I thought Baker looked really good. I mean, I'll just have that like kind of flow into our little like, you know, where do we go from here thing. But like, I thought he played really well, pretty well.
Yeah, he. I took his under in completions, and he had to just make that 23rd completion.
Was that the Hooper one?
Yeah, no. What?
Was that the Hooper one?
No, it was his over-under on completions was 22 and a half. Oh, was it that Hooper one? I thought you okay. No, it was earlier. It was later in the fourth quarter. But I thought he did. I thought he did a really good job. I think exactly what Romo was saying throughout the game is he's kind of grown into that role. That he's not turning the ball over. He's just going to be that guy that leads them down the field, relies on their run game. So he kind of knows the kind of quarterback he is now, which is that is, again, talking about finding yourself in an offense. It seems like Mahomes. It seems like Baker has found himself in that offense. So I think moving forward for them, they're going to be heavily run dominant, and they're going to have to build. The defense has to be built, which I was saying this yesterday. Am I an idiot? I thought they've been drafting with all their draft picks they've had, the defense. Like, why is their defense not good?
It's good. I don't know. I just thought they had a rough day.
And they're just the middle of the
even going into it, their stats are not they're not a top 10, top 15 defense. No.
Yeah, they're just kind of middle ground. Yeah, they don't do anything crazy on defense. No, it's pretty vanilla. So yeah, no, I agree. I think that's their biggest need. I mean, obviously they have Denzel Ward. You know, I think they need some more help in the secondary though. And you know, Vernon had a decent year, Olivier Vernon, but he might need some more help up front.
Well, and I love what Bill said too in the chat, because I totally agree that the fact that I remember saying it. Me and Emily were watching the game yesterday, and I was saying to her, the minute he fumbled that ball, I was like, "That's the game. Like that's like you can't win that game when you do something like that. That's such a swing of momentum. Like, that's everything.
Especially the
playoffs. It's a 10-point swing, right? Because they got a field goal before halftime. That's 7 points that they could have had, and they gave up 3 instead.
Yeah, no, playoffs, there's no room for mistakes like that.
No, you can't get away with it. But
no.
I'll tell you, the Saints were like, anything you can do, I can do better. How about 4 turnovers? Yeah, you think you're going to look the tell that? Yikes. I mean, and they were in it. Like, they were living to tell a tale through the second turnover. But, well, actually, real quick, before we go into that game, did you guys see Tyreek Hill, like, shove Greg Lewis? Like, that whole thing?
Yeah. But, I mean, this is still up for debate, since it is Tyreek Hill and the world that we live in. I did see, though, that both Greg Lewis and Tyreek came out and were just like, nah, like, we have a really good relationship. Apparently they're like brothers or uncle. I think he called him like he sees him as like his uncle. So I still, the amount of times I've seen that video, I still don't see how it was a quote unquote friendly push. Like, he was definitely pretty animated, pretty upset that he wasn't throwing the football on that play. But, like, yeah, I don't know. And my other thing about this was, yeah, he was open on that play, but he was open for Patrick Mahomes. He wasn't open for Chad Henne. Like, he had about like a foot or like, he wasn't wide open. He was open for the quarterback that should have been in the game, not the one that was playing.
Yeah, no, I completely agreed. It was a pretty vicious push, if you ask me.
That's a good point. I mean, but it doesn't matter. I don't know. I just think that it's one of those things where, like, I mean, it's probably I mean, you can watch that loop and it's 3 seconds. Like, it's so hard to take 3 seconds. But I mean, generally, I would say I would not like pushing your coach. But I mean, but you know, it's what it is. All right. They won the game, right? So that's all that matters. But let's jump into this. Let's go over the Bucs and Saints real quick. So This was an awful first half, right? I mean, it wasn't until that interception it kind of got the Bucks juices flowing, and then I don't know. This was not. It was chippy. It's physical. I mean, what do you guys think? I've been rambling on all show. What do you guys think of this game?
No, I agree. I think it was physical. I think when I texted you today, credit to the Bucks defense. They played great defensively, but I kind of feel like the Saints handed them this game on a platter a little bit in the second half. And Brady looked good. Nothing. He played their offense, and I thought Fournette and Ronald Jones ran very well, very aggressive, pounding the ball forward, and they had a very good game combined. But I feel like the Saints lost this more than the Bucks won it. Maybe, I don't know. I'll probably get criticized for that, but it's whatever.
By the way, I love before not to harp on the Tyreek Hill thing, but I love what the chat was saying. He said, "Never saw a nephew hit an uncle on the football sideline before."
Yeah, I saw that. That's a good one.
That's so true. And those turnovers really did kill them in that game. And right, look at the Saints. It's like I look at this game and say the Jared Cook fumble was was the turning point of this game.
Yeah, completely.
Right, it wasn't so much about the Bucks winning; it was about the Saints doing wrong. I mean, I'm guessing. I'm not throwing the stat out there, but with a little bit of confidence, I'm saying they obviously. I think the Saints all four of their turnovers were south of the 50. For the Bucks to go in and cash in on points relatively easy.
Yeah. No, the last interception I think was at their own 48 maybe, and the broadcast actually mentioned that was the worst starting field position of the four turnovers. So yeah, I think there was just one where it started on their own side of the ball, but it was literally the 48. So that's massive.
And Zach, you credited the running game obviously, and you're right because too. I'm looking at Tom Brady's stat line. It was 18 for 33 for 199 yards.
Yeah.
If his name's not Tom Brady, if his name's Gus Bounding, are we saying that he's
that's a Jared Goff type of stat line?
Yeah, but here's the thing that I haven't said it to Kieran yet, and I'm just gonna have to say it on the show because that's what we're here for. The only scary part, not only, but one of the scary things about that game last night was Brady made a couple of throws that were Brady-esque, and they just weren't caught. Gronk catches that touchdown in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. Want to know how I know? Because he did catch that touchdown against the Eagles the exact same way.
Godwin, too.
Yes, and Godwin, yeah. Godwin right off of his hands. That is a dime that's put exactly where it needed to be. So he's still living. He's still out there. That's the scary part is they didn't even play a complete game in that, and they still won.
And further to that point, their leading receiver was Cameron Brate. So
oh man,
that speaks to how the receivers played in the game.
All right, as I relax here for a second. I mean, there's two sides of that coin. I mean, right? You could be the person that has the take saying, well, they lived to tell a tale. They must be a good team because they found a way to win. But you could also be how many times are you going to pull that off? You can't go up to Green Bay and do that, can you? I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know either. The only point I'm making here is that he can still make those throws when he needs to make them. So
yeah, I mean, and also you want to talk about Tom Brady's accolades at 14th conference championship. It's what the fourth most ever for just a team.
Well, did you see the stat that said he has more playoff victories than I think 27 franchises in the NFL?
It's insane.
It's crazy. And of course, the number one team was the Patriots, which he was on. So I don't know why they're even a part of that.
Sounds like a team stat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right.
No, but talking about stats, one that jumps out at me let's live the moment here for a second. Not running away at this NFC Championship talk because we'll do that on Thursday. Michael Thomas, 0 catches.
Yeah.
Can't guard Mike. Apparently in the playoffs you can.
I mean, yikes!
I don't have words for this one. I personally hate Michael Thomas. So
why? Because you're a Penn State fan and Eagles fan. I mean, it's bad blood. I understand it.
Sure, you can. But no, not even that. when I said earlier that Devontae is able to talk, like he wasn't the talker that he was now when he was kind of coming up, right?
Right.
Michael Thomas has been that guy the whole way through, and I just like I don't know. He's been catching slant passes from one of the best quarterbacks in the game for his whole career. Like, okay, good for you. Like, it's not like he breaks anyone down on these insane routes with his footwork. Like, that's not the receiver he is. Like, he's really good at 5 and 10 yard slants across the middle, and then being a big body target in the red zone. Like, that's Michael Thomas.
I can't believe that from an offensive game plan perspective, at halftime they weren't like, all right, we need to get Mike involved. Like, let's just do a quick screen pass just to get him, get the juices flowing, get him, some confidence. I can't believe they didn't try to do that or anything like simple, like give him at least something to get, some type of mojo going. It was just bad coaching in my opinion.
And what do you think, real quick, about this in the chat, that Rodgers and the weather will take up Brady in the box? I mean, obviously it's Monday and we're not like jumping in. I think it's supposed to be 25 and snow on Sunday.
I mean,
does that play a role? I know what you're going to say.
Brady won't be affected by the weather.
But he's living in Florida. You can't have it both ways. And this is not me being a biased Packers fan. I'm more just saying, like, because I would be saying this if he was playing, whoever in the cold. Like, you can't go down to Florida, like, turn into a Floridian and, like, know the humidity now and be good at that, even though he wasn't good at that, when he was with New England. Now all of a sudden go back up to the north and be like, oh, we played New England a year ago. That works. Like, if you lived in Florida for a year and then went up to, the coldest spot, like, you think your blood type's going to be the same? That's me really just challenging that as a football fan.
I don't know. I think you're reading into that a little bit too much. Okay, the Flyers are losing.
Damn it.
Yeah, no, I agree with. I think he played in New England for forever, so this is nothing new to him.
Like
so the weather doesn't matter. The Flyers are losing. That's what we're getting in the last 15 seconds.
No. I won't say that though. Yeah, maybe the weather will matter for other people on the team, but I don't think it will matter specifically to Tom Brady.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe Leonard Fournette might matter, given that he played in LSU down south in Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, and now he's got to try to carry the ball.
Playoff Lenny, apparently. This is Nick.
Yeah.
Get 107 yards rushing, Zach. All right, let me put you on the spot here for a second, because this is what we do. We're brothers on this, in general, but this means, well, not really, but like this.
I know what you're gonna do.
I just see the resemblance, Alice. I'm trying to, remember the Titans quote there. All right, but no, where I'm going. Right, I'm putting you on the spot here because you said Tampa was like kind of your fat cat. Right, it wasn't going to happen in this year. It was overhyped. It was a dream team, and nothing was. All right, they're here. Yeah, we're here. We are here. They're here. We're here. Everyone's here. So, like, what now? What?
So, a little preview, a little early version of Show versus Street. My Street version says it's because the NFC sucks, and that's why they're in the NFC Championship game. But no, in reality, like. They as the year.
I mean, saying if you believe it.
No, I think the path to the NFC Championship game for them wasn't necessarily like the hardest thing compared to what other teams have had to go through for the AFC, for example. Not credit to them, they're in the NFC Championship. They won games, it doesn't matter. But I think as the season has progressed, I feel like the chemistry and just the team, they've just really gelled as the season's gone forward. And I think having that week 13 bye really benefited them. Because it gave them to take a week off. You have meetings with Bruce Arians over playbook stuff, any questions, team building, all that good stuff, and they just carried that, into the playoffs. And it didn't hurt that their last 3 weeks of the regular season were against pretty cupcake teams. But hey, winning helps
twice.
Just winning helped, and they got used to that feeling, and they've carried it through. So they're hitting their stride at the right time. So yes, I was wrong.
So we also got to remember, like, their first game was against Taylor Heineke, whatever the hell his name is. That's who they played in their first game, with probably one, if not two, best quarterback of all time as their quarterback. Followed by they're playing Drew Brees at 40 whatever years old and can't throw the ball down the field. So. I think they ran into two teams that are quote unquote frauds. Like they're not a team that I would tell you is going to go win a Super Bowl right now. And they're playing a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. So I think it's going to be a lot different come Sunday. And I don't think the Packers are frauds. I think they've built off of momentum that they acquired last year, and they have just ran with it the whole season. So I really think it's going to be a little bit different on Sunday.
And Beals is right in the chat. It's all going to come down to time possession and turnovers too. I mean, right, like there's I was reading two things, but I thought you said time possession, same possession receiver. But no, but to the point of right, the turnovers. I mean, that they feasted on that on New Orleans, and that's why it was a 10-point game. They had 4 turnovers to spot on that. And remember, that's like almost like getting 4 strokes in golf. All right, let's do real quick before we move into Mojo Monday and wrap up the show. Let's do the like where are we now with New Orleans, right? I mean, there's so many ways to look at this.
We're in the Jameis era.
Is that an era? Is that going to be an era? That's kind of like, I don't want to like do a whole thing on that, but it's like, right? Like, it's a quarterback market this year in the offseason.
Yeah, because he only signed a 1-year deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Drew's definitely gone. I think people read into the lip reading, and you don't know if it's completely accurate, but it did look like he said, "This is your team now," to Jameis. And then he did that whole looking back thing and explained that he wanted to take one more look at the Superdome. So, like, the writing does seem to be on the wall with that one.
I mean, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman wouldn't have gone into that classy way of giving him like his salute out if like they didn't, I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're right. So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be like, it's Sean Payton, man. I don't think he's going to go out and get another quarterback right now. Not right now, as in like maybe a young guy, but I don't think he's going to get like a Matthew Stafford type right at this moment. I think they're probably going to re-sign Jameis for another 1-year deal, and I think they'll have a quarterback competition between Jameis and trick play gadget man.
Taysom,
yeah. If he wins that quarterback job, I don't even want to be around. Like, he's not good. I don't know why people think that guy's good at football.
Taysom Hill.
Yeah, Taysom Hill.
I'm interested to see if they do move forward with Jameis, which kind of would think they would, how much if he did grow in this year behind Breeze from a decision making perspective, and just to see how much, if any, he's improved next season. So I will say I'm excited to see that if he is their quarterback.
All right, so you want to do a little Mojo Monday then?
Let's do it.
All right, yeah, let's get the vibes out. I feel like these ladies are not, vibing as much as they were in this, this little video here. But hey, it's what it is. Better days, right? All right, Zach, you want to do your Mojo Monday first?
Yeah, let's do it. So the Bills and the Ravens. So as we know, Lamar Jackson got knocked out with a concussion, and they lost, and all that good stuff. So not good stuff, but we all know what happened. So Bills fans, because of he got concussed, they felt bad and things like that. They've donated. The number keeps changing every hour, but they've donated last I saw, over $360,000 to Lamar Jackson, a charity that he supports called Blessings in a Backpack, which is it provides food for underprivileged children during COVID, especially because usually, I guess, when people, these kids would go to elementary school, that would be like one of their only ways they could eat food, I guess, at snack time or whatever. And now that they're home, they might not have access. So it's a great charity, giving back, and speaks miles to how great the Buffalo and the Bills fans are, with their donations and what they do for not only their community but other communities, even of opposing teams.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I thought that was awesome.
That's so classy. I've had a whole new appreciation for Buffalo and the Bills fans, and it's not it's just because I was more just naive to the whole world of Western upstate New York, right? It's just so cool. Exactly. You've heard me say multiple times I'm going to go up there now.
Yeah, man. The football experience there is pretty insane. Yeah, we'll have to go up.
We'll go up.
Whether I don't care. It could be Eagles, Bills. It could be Packers, Bills, whatever. I'll
Well, I was
go.
gonna say, so Chad, get this. So we were talking about next year, what we want to start doing when things go back to normal is get like press credentials, and then we can like write articles and tell our stories about our experience going to a game or whatever. But it'd be cool to like go pick different places, like a place like Buffalo or whatever, and see it. But yeah, I don't know. Start out there, but
You want me to start? You want me to start with Tampa Bay Stadium?
Yeah, there you go.
I'll have those press credentials.
yes, you're right. I mean,
That's
we're
insane.
gonna if the Packers win, we're gonna do a hard segment about the whole like does Kieran make a drive down there thing. Like,
Yeah.
I think you do.
you'll listen to, oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. When you're over on Sunday, Chad, that if good things happen, you're wearing that Adams jersey right out the door.
Yeah.
I will say one more thing about the Bills Ravens. So Lamar Jackson actually stayed like when he was walking when they were going on their plane to leave. He took pictures with Bills fans too. So it speaks miles to how it speaks miles to Lamar Jackson too. Just how
Absolutely.
good of a sport he is, especially being concussed and you lose a playoff game, and it's good to see.
You're right. And I love, first of all, shout out to the chat, by the way, for being awesome tonight. And Beals was fantastic on the Facebook chat, and always your number one fan, and some other folks in the Twitch chat were fantastic tonight. So that's our Mojo Monday. We appreciate everyone with the awesome football chatter tonight. And I love what always your number one fan was saying too about Mojo Monday. Aaron Rodgers donating $500K to the Barstool Fund. That's pretty cool too. I didn't do that one because I figured I'd come off as biased. That's a great one. I love that one in the chat. And I'll throw out mine real quick. So I guess kind of just to harp on the whole like Drew Brees retiring and just I'll say this. I know this probably sounds kind of cliche and corny, but I thought Joe Buck and Troy Aikman did a good job like setting up like the whatever the word is, but the audience for Drew Brees going out. And I remember taking a second just watching him throw. I know obviously threw that pick and that was the whole thing, but I took a second to just appreciate just how good of a quarterback he was, and it was fun to watch him. Just like kind of look at him as an ambassador in the league, and credit to him. But mine, for my Mojo Monday though I thought it was cool Tom Brady and him having a moment after the game. I know everyone is kind of just gushing over this. It's so cool, but no, I mean it really is. I mean, right, like Tom Brady's got to go on that plane. They got to get their asses back to Tampa Bay immediately and start prepping for this next game. And I mean, right to have that moment, and honestly, this sounds so weird. Just seeing Drew Brees playing with his kids and just seeing them loving each other, and just like I don't know, just a lot of positivity out there on that field in that moment. Tom Brady throwing passes to his kids, and right, like Drew Brees helping his dog. While Drew Brees helping his daughter do like a handstand, like it was just really like a cartwheel. Like it was just really cool. I don't know. The whole thing was a really touching moment.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
The funny thing was when I was watching that video is I watched it a couple of times and it was touching and all that stuff, but that's not why I kept rewinding it. Like he threw a dime.
I thought the same thing. I kind of want to go back here. Let me pull it up again.
The one kid played pretty good defense on the other end.
The exact same thing. Here, let's look at it again. You're right. Oh my God, Chad. I thought that would maybe just be kind of weird to say, so I didn't put it in my notes.
Like
God, you're right.
Like a nonchalant throw that gets intercepted.
Oh my God. I know you guys are on a little bit of delay. Oh my God, that's hell of a throw.
No, it was perfect, to be honest.
It kind of puts in perspective how good that right in his hands.
Yeah, exactly. But what's funny is I wasn't prepared, but I do have some good mojo.
Yeah, Chad, you got something?
LaSalle killed the Hawk once again. The Hawk is dead, as per happens every year. They're now 1-10. St. Joe's Hawks 1-10. LaSalle beat them today. MLK Day game. So that's my mojo right there. Is the Hawk is dead.
I saw you retweeted the pass. I forget what was the kid from Coatesville, freshman, behind the back of that guy.
Yeah, Jameer Brickus.
Yeah.
That was he's a freshman. Gets some good minutes. It's typical LaSalle though. Like some games were great, some games we suck.
A month ago, we're talking about Ron Rivera beating cancer. Now Mojo Mondays dropped to LaSalle knocking off a 1-10 St. Joe's team in Big Five basketball in Philadelphia. Like, oh my God! All right, here we are. This is a radio show.
They swept them this year, Karen. They swept them.
That's pretty good for LaSalle.
There you go.
It's Big Five for anyone outside the Philadelphia area. Big Five basketball. So it's Temple, LaSalle, Penn, St. Joe's, and Villanova. So yeah, a lot of. But it's gentlemen.
Even though
right?
Villanova's not in the city.
Oh yeah, no, I can attest to that. Temple is, LaSalle is.
Yeah, no, North Philly.
Yeah, hey, if you can go robbed at the school, it's definitely the Big Five. Like that's what I look at it. All right, but don't rob us of the love. I'll tell you that's actually a perfect way to spin into this. So I'll tell you, give us a follow if you want to check out all the audio episodes on Spotify and iTunes. You can check us out. Living Room Sports Talk is there for all the cool stuff. And then on social media, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit at _GetSidetracked, and make sure you check us out at www.get-sidetrack.com for all the Z-Man's picks, which he does a phenomenal job every weekend throwing those out there. Which you're the best for putting those out there, man. They're awesome.
Well, it was funny. The wild card weekend, the picks on Saturday went 3-0, and then the picks on Sunday went 0-3. The ones this weekend went 3-1, so we have a winning record.
Damn straight. Yeah, there we go. All right, and also if you want the video episodes, if you're not checking us out on Twitch, you can jump in, follow us, and subscribe. It's free to subscribe if you have Amazon Prime, which I feel like everyone has at this point. It's kind of like saying, like, do you have an iPhone? It's like most people do. So yeah, give us a subscription. I'm like, I've said this so many times, I'll try to spill it out so fast. Like, please subscribe. All right, and then check us out on YouTube too. That's a free subscription on YouTube. And you can check out highlights and all sorts of good stuff on the show there as well. And then if you're feeling some of the gear, any type of cool stuff. Oh, we got Mike Murphy in the chat. How we doing? Oh, Mikey. Oh, my God. We got Mike back on the show. Oh, we definitely got to get Mike back on the show. Before I even, as I'm talking about, like, oh, go to the Sidetrack store. But, I mean, there's some cool stuff on the Sidetrack store. But we got to get Mike back on the show and talk, especially with baseball around the corner, too. It's not that
Amen.
Amen. I love a good Remember the Titans quote. We definitely got to get him back on.
Wait, speaking of the merch, can we get my Death Taxes Devontae Adams touchdowns going? Like,
yeah, we have to.
I need that shirt. Like, I'll buy 4 of them.
Oh my God, yeah, we have to. Let's design that. Oh yeah, we have to have him on for the Masters too. By the way, Mike too. Well, we'll have him on in February before the Masters. A little baseball chatter. No, we do need to do that. We need to do the Death Taxes Devontae Adams touchdown shirt. I'm like so excited I can't even talk. I'm like slurring.
By the way, have you seen, like, I don't do it every post because I don't see every post, but with some of these posts that Devontae puts out, I've just been putting it in the comments on his Instagram. Like, just I'm hoping it just picks up steam. Like, I need that to just, like,
you start, like, we're gonna go somewhere someday, and that's gonna happen.
Yeah, like it's perfect. Like, this thing, like, Barstool kind of brought that back. So, give it to me. Let me have this moment.
We need it. Awesome. This was fun. This was fun having the chat involved and everything. This is a great night. The chat was great having you back too.
Thanks. I mean, I'm gonna apologize to you guys. I thought it was a little bit long-winded tonight, but it's first time back.
No. This is great because hey, we're doing this show two shows a week now, Monday and Thursday.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, and hey, we got a little hockey here, boys.
4 shots in the first period, Kieran. 4 shots.
1-0 at first for the good guys.
All right. Maybe I'll turn the vibes around. All right, I want to thank everyone for chatting in and listening. So we'll be back on the air on Thursday at 7:00. Check us out on social media, all that cool stuff. But yeah, this is a lot of fun, and we'll have all the divisional I'm thinking about still like locked on these games. We'll have championship Sunday previews on. Yeah, I know. Well, championship Sunday previews on Thursday.